All right, YouTube repo man 64. Get those off. It's messing with the camera. I am back. I am passing a 6 millimeter kidney stone. Yeah, lots of fun. They had to take him to the out of work to the emergency room the other day. The pain, normally I can handle it. This time was way too intense. So they put me on the table and gave me morphine and all kinds of stuff to help it pass, which it hasn't yet. It's still stuck in the tube between my kidney. That's awesome. And so I'm not in pain right now, but it's like contractions, honestly, is what I would describe it as. I've never had a baby yet. Yeah, I've never had a baby. So I don't know. But as the stone moves, the pain intensifies. I tried to come out here yesterday. I came out here yesterday to make a video, but as I was standing here getting set up, my pain went through the roof. I had to go inside and take some pain medicine and sit down and relax. So I did work all day today, no pain. So I don't know. Has the thing moved to has it moved out, moved on yet? I don't know. It's huge, so who knows? So, Christian, what are you looking for as your sign for the rapture? What is it that you are looking for? A lot of us are looking for Damascus, right? It's written right in the Bible, the burden of Damascus. So we're kind of keeping an eye on that area over there. And now more than ever, it would appear that there's a possibility something could happen in Damascus. Do we know that that is our indicator that the rapture's about to happen? We do have the story of Saul, now named Paul, on his way to Damascus, being blinded by Jesus, telling him, "What are you doing? Killing all my people here." And God changing him and blinded him for 3 days. So we kind of think maybe that would be something that we would see. There's other channels that are looking at, and they've done a lot of amazing work. 6,000 years from creation. They've narrowed it down to this year. They've done amazing work, not my field of expertise. Others have really been trying to figure out when Jesus went to the cross. The only problem I see with using the Gregorian calendar is the today's date lands on a Thursday, but last year it landed on, it depends if it's a leap year or not, it landed on a Wednesday or Tuesday. So you can't really use the Gregorian calendar to go back and count when things happen. So that's a hard one to sell to me, but they've done really good research. Aaron over at Got a Minute has done a lot of good research on that. And it looks like 2024 should be the year. Now, he says that the rapture can only occur, or the way he's viewing it, is that the rapture must occur on Pentecost. So he's kind of saying, well, I think it's going to happen on Pentecost. Therefore, probably isn't going to happen until next year. Got news for you, Aaron. Pentecost is not over with yet. I'm going to show that to you here in a moment. How about the waves and the seas roaring? We've seen in Luke where it gives us a rundown of all these things we're going to be looking for, but the one thing we haven't seen yet is the waves and the seas roaring. What calendar do we use? What calendar do we use? Do we use the full moon calendar? Do we use the sliver moon calendar? Do we use the sliver or full moon after the sun goes into Aries? Do we use it when we notice that it has moved in the last 2,160 years, one constellation? It's 30 days away from where it was 2,000 years ago. How about earthquakes? Those upticks in earthquakes, that's a huge sign that the rapture might occur. How about Israel being surrounded? There's a lot of wonderful channels that are working on this. Watch Woman 65, Global Rapture Watchers. A lot of them are looking at earthquakes and stuff and world events that are going on. wondering, could this be it? Israel being surrounded, I mean. So what about nuclear? They're throwing that around like candy now. That word is being tossed around like candy, like it ain't no big deal. We'll just nuke the whole planet. A lot of you are saying that when the nukes fall, we go up. What exactly is it, Christian, that you're looking for? How about the eclipses, the sun and the moon, and when they happen, and the math, like Steve Fletcher does so much math from and to events. How about that? Could that be it? How about the attempt on Trump's life there? How about that? That's kind of a huge sign, right? How about Israel becoming a nation in 1948? We do math from there. I've studied that extensively, and I believe that the 80 years marks when they're kicked out of Israel and go to Petra. It is not for us. The fly away is not for us. The fly away is for them, that they will fly away from Israel and go to Petra. How about the economy, huh? The economy's crashing. They're holding it up by printing money as fast as they can every single day. How about others that use gematria and stuff like that? That's a way to look at when the rapture might occur. How about wars and rumors of wars? See what's going on in Ukraine. There's others who use Fibonacci, a lot of Fibonacci math going on, and the golden rule. Some say that like Aaron says, that the rapture should occur on a Pentecost. There are others who say, nope, it's the last trump on the Feast of Trumpets. Who's right? How about dreams and visions? Bob Barber over there, they're getting all kinds of dreams and visions from kids that are seeing things. As a matter of fact, if you have had an experience, or your child has, Global Rapture Watchers wants you to put that comment in his YouTube so that he can talk about it. Cloud formations. People are looking at even cloud formations as to when this is going to happen. Me personally, I've said it a million times, until an angel comes to the foot of my bed and says, this is it, how will I actually know? With all these variables I just given you, how will we actually know when it's going to happen? And the answer is simple. Amos 3:7. That is the simplest answer that I can give any of you. Every one of these, and there's so many more than just this, there's numbers going on, there's all kinds of things going on, but every single thing I just named are watchers doing exactly what they're supposed to do. We're supposed to attempt to figure this out. God left it ambiguous on purpose. He did it on purpose so that we would research, study, and try to figure it out. Some of you say we shouldn't even try. I disagree. Some of you say we are trying hard enough. Disagree. I think that everyone has their piece of the puzzle and comes to the table with their research, and it's amazing. But Amos 3:7, in the end of the day, after we've done all that we're doing, studying all that we're studying, excuse me, sorry, this medication's got my sinuses running and my brain not working right. With everything that we are doing, which we're supposed to do, Amos 3:7 is abundantly clear. That angel at the foot of your bed is going to happen. That moment in time where God tells us this is it. Those of us who have been dreaming of this day and looking at, well, there's, 3 matchsticks to hit the floor in this angle. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you name it, people are relating it to the rapture, and they're doing this because it's in their heart. It's in their heart. They want to go home, and they're trying to figure out any way and every way to figure out when we're going home. But Amos 3:7, God says, I will do nothing until I warn the prophets and the saints first. I'm paraphrasing, but he will do nothing. Now, Revelation 3:3, who is he going to tell? Who's he going to tell? He's going to tell all these people that bring all these pieces of puzzles that I just named to the table. He's going to tell them. Revelation 3:3, he's going to tell them, if you don't watch, I will come upon you as a thief, and you won't know when I'm coming. We're watching. we're all watching. We're all bringing our piece of the puzzle. We're all trying to hammer this out, figure this out. I watched Dr. Barry's video, amazing as usual. I love his work. He is convinced of the Feast of Wine is on the 9th of Av. There is a comment that Spinebreaker sent me that was actually made in Dr. Barry's, not this video, but the video before, where they went through the math and found out that, and that's what Spybreaker was saying, because I have it on the timeline, but he says that Tu B'Av is not a real thing, that it's Tisha B'Av that we're supposed to be looking at. And I thought, you'd have to explain that to me because I don't understand. But that's what Dr. Barry's looking at, is the 9th of Av. He's calling it Tu B'Av or Tisha B'Av. I don't know which one to call it at this point. I need to do some more studying to figure out if they're the same day and they just made up a holiday. Think about this. When Moses comes down out of the mountain, he throws the tablets down. He's pissed. They have to disassemble everything. They have to grind that calf up, put it in water, and then they drink it. And then they belly swole, and then they were killed. That took time. That we're stuck in time. Think about this. Almighty God came here in the person Jesus Christ. He put himself, he didn't just subject himself to the cross. He subjected himself to starvation, heat, thirst, you name it. He subjected himself 100%. There's nobody can say, well, you just don't understand. Oh, he understands. He came here as Jesus Christ. He completely understands. There isn't anything he doesn't understand. So when he comes here and he dies on a cross for us, and we make, flippant statements like that, which I've heard, he understands. He went through all of it, and he comes here and he limits himself. He traps himself in time. He's outside of time. That's why God can say a day is like 1,000 years, 1,000 years like a day. To God, this means nothing. But to us, each day ticks, every single day, next day, the next day, the next day. And God made abundantly clear to us that each day has a name. Each day has a name. So I want to get into the pictures. I want to show you a little bit more. Sister Sandy hasn't stopped working on it. She keeps adding everything, and then I go. I went back up to Staples to get a copy printed on 11 by 17. After everything I added, I took a picture of what I added, put it into Discord, and then she went in and fixed it. And since then, of course, I've added Purim, I've added Festival of Trees. Now, there's something I noticed, and I mentioned this in the last video, is that nothing happens on Friday and Tuesday. Like, literally nothing happens. And if it happens on a Tuesday or a Friday, the event happened at nightfall, which made it the next day anyway. It's amazing. And I didn't know this as I'm pulling everything, and I'm just going by what God said. God said, 6 days you shall work, and on the 7th day you shall rest. End of discussion. 52 times I did that for the 52 weeks in a year. Now, it doesn't matter where I started the Gregorian year. It matters where I start the Hebrew year. There are 30, 30, and 31. If you use any other number, if you attempt to use 28 or 29 or 30 for these months, everybody's like, well, there's only 29 days in Elul. No, there's 31. Because if you don't use that, you won't wind up back on Nisan 1. And I'll show that to you. So I want to get into this. Oh, first let me share. There we go. Share the screen. You guys, this thing, hopefully it goes up. Okay. And let's see here. Where am I at? Right here. All right. This is a command of God. It's the one that we say, well, we don't really have to obey it, because we're not under the law. Well, we obey the thou shalt not murder. That's a good one to obey. This is, as a matter of fact, this is the only law that we completely ignore. And God's not telling us to be Seventh-day Adventists at all. That's not what he means here. First of all, they have no clue when the seventh day is. They never have. I know when it is, but throughout time, they've never known. So they've always done this on the wrong day anyway. But if you set it up like this, if you count your week 7 days and you go down 52 weeks, then you know exactly where everything aligns. You understand why things began where they did when he created time, and the day after time was the first day of time. So remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but on the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. So you can see he's setting it up. He's telling us that we need to work 6 days, and on the seventh day we rest. Let me continue on here. I did all this. I don't know if I want to go through this again. There appeared a great wonder in heaven, and then I proved this is moon. 4582 is moon, and we'll continue on here. I show you that this is Selene. If they were talking about the moon in those passages where they say, you know, the new moon or the new moon, it's not saying that. It's saying new month. The new month was kept holy. Same thing again here, fingerprints, the moon and the stars. And we see the word Yarich, which definitely means moon, doesn't mean anything else. And then we come down here, and Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon, but it's not, it's the new month because it's the word Chodesh. All right, so here we have taken a bag of money with him and will come home in the day appointed. Now that's not even moon or month. That is appointed time. That is kaseh. That word means kaseh. 3677 means kaseh, which is kind of it's a hidden day. It's a day that you normally wouldn't count, which is why the 31st was so important to me. You have 30, 30, and 31. So 91 days, but that one day was a shift between seasons, and that day is called a kaseh, but it lands too far out. So there's the timeline. Now, here's the timeline. Let me see if I can enlarge this thing. Whoa. All right. Now, Saturday at nightfall, God begins creation. Sunday is the first day of creation. A lot of misinformation out there. Does the day begin at sunrise? No, it does not. God, from the very beginning, from creation, said, and the night and the day were the first day. He started creation at sunset the day prior. So he started creation here on Saturday at nightfall, becoming Sunday. So when you do that, if you were to count from this day, 14 days, this is the day Jesus rose, 14 days later. The problem is, where did he go to the cross? That would make him go to the cross 3 days earlier, and it would be right here on a Wednesday. So we know he went to the cross on a Wednesday, but if we started the week here, then 14 days later, this would be the cross. This would not be the day he rose. So he would have gone to the cross on a Sunday and rose, 1, 2, 3, he would have rose on a Wednesday. We know that didn't happen. We know he went to the cross on a Wednesday. We know he rose on a Sunday. We know these 3 days, 1, 2, and 3, are the 3 days he spent. He paid in full. He didn't miss 1 minute. He died on the cross at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Those 3 hours did not count towards that first day. A lot of people try to count that first day as Wednesday. No, he began paying Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. Saturday night, he did not stay all night in the grave because he rose on Sunday. So that did not count. So we have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we know that Sunday he rose. I believe it was 84 hours. If you do the minutes on 84 hours, it comes up to 5,040 minutes. Half of that is 2,520, and half of that is 1,260. It makes way too much sense that he was in the grave for 84 hours. Notice I have the meal here. This is where Jesus's head was anointed. It's not the same event as when he had a meal with Mary, Martha, and Lazarus, and she was washing his feet. Over here is where she breaks the box of alabaster is it oil and puts it on his head and anoints his head. But I have a feeling this meal happened at nightfall. I could probably put an arrow here to Saturday, because Saturday during the daytime he sent them off to get the donkey and the colt. Why were the donkey and the colt available to get? They worked 6 days, and on the seventh day they rested. The Sabbath is Saturday. This is the day they rested. This is the seventh day of creation. The only reason that donkey and colt were there is because it was Saturday when they went to get the donkey and the colt. 4 days, you have to keep the lamb for 4 days before you sacrifice it over here. At nightfall here, Jesus had the Last Supper on Passover, because nightfall starts the next day, not sunrise. Nightfall. That's why he was able to have, a lot of people ask, why, how does he have the Last Supper and he is the Passover? It's because he had the Last Supper with them here at nightfall, 6 p.m. That night, they get him in the Garden of Gethsemane. He gets betrayed by Judas with a kiss. They take him and they do all of this. And by the time we reach 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he dies on a cross. Again, this can only happen if this Nisan 1 is the head of the year and it is a Thursday. The only reason Nisan 1 can be a Thursday is when creation of time began back here on the 4th day, which is a Wednesday. Time was created, and then Thursday is the head of the week. So in essence, let me move this out of the way. I can't see. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but in essence, Wednesday and Saturday are both Sabbaths. They are both Sabbaths. All right. Let's go up here. Where are we at now? Let me go to creation here just so I can show that to you real quick. Where did it go? Here. Creation began here. On Elul 28, I show September the 11th. It started Saturday night, Saturday night becoming Sunday. At nightfall, it becomes Sunday. Sunday is the first day of creation. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, God creates time. Thursday is the first day of time. Thursday is also the Feast of Trumpets. For those who think it's going to happen on the Feast of Trumpets, that's September the 15th. That's when it will happen, September the 15th. The 6th day, God creates man. This is a Tuesday, I believe. Is that a Tuesday? Let me go back up here. That's a Friday, sorry. That is a Friday. Yeah, it would be a Friday. That's a Friday for us. The 6th day is Friday. And then on the 7th day, he rested. This appears to be the only thing that God did on a Friday. And this, the 3rd day of creation, I think this is where he did the dry land. 3rd day of creation, Elul 30, September the 13th. Again, nothing happens on this day all the way through. Last Supper was at nightfall here. I believe this meal with Simon the leper, where his head was anointed, happened after nightfall, which put it over here. That's the only thing that happens on Friday. I didn't even know that until I put this all on a, you work 6 days and on the 7th day you rested. You work 6 days and on the 7th day you rested. Every single day needs a name. It needs a name. It existed. It has nothing to do with the moon whatsoever. And if you start your year here on Nisan 1, exactly 182 days later to the day is Tishri 1, Feast of Trumpets. Remember, God moved the head of the year. This is now the head of the year, Rosh Hashanah, up here, Nisan 1. Moves the head of the year from here. And then later on, he names this trumpets after he removes the name, which was, this used to be Rosh Hashanah. This is where all the jubilees begin. This is where all of the 7-year, what is the 7-year? I'm going to forget the 7-year. Is it sabbatical? No, I don't remember what it's called, the 7-year thing. So this is where that begins. Jesus, look at this. This is exactly 182 days later. This is the Feast of Trumpets. Jesus is born on Tishri 15, on September the 30th. Go back up here. March the 30th, Nisan 14. It is exactly it's the 14th day. It is exactly 142 days, 182 days to Jesus being born on the Feast of Tabernacles. Jesus is named and circumcised on Tishri 22, 8 days later. The same thing happens at his conception. He is conceived on December the 25th, Tevet 10. 7 days, 8 days later, the self same day, whenever the Bible says the self same day, like when he says, and Noah went into the ark, and the self same day it began to rain. The self same day simply means it's 8 days from when it started. That's why a lot of people got confused on that verse. They're like, no, it says it rained on the day he went into the ark. No, it rained on the self same day that he went into the ark. He went into the ark 7 days earlier. Noah goes into the ark on Heshbon 10. He sits in the door of the ark for 8 days. 7 days, and yet 7 days I will flood the earth. So you count the next day, 1, 2, and you get over here to the 17th. God shut the door on the self same day it began to rain. Boom. It's the same thing. Now, as I continue down this, like I said, nothing happens on Friday. Nothing happens on Tuesday. Isn't it? It's like, does this play a song? You know those old music boxes that have the little spikes that stick up and goes ting, 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 ting. And I just wondered if you wrap this around a music box, what song this would play. So I continue to add the events that I have on my timeline. And guess what? They all land on every day except for Friday and Tuesday. I'd never noticed that before, obviously, because I didn't. This actually started because Aaron at Got a Minute made a comment. And he talked about that 6 days you shall work and the seventh day you're rested. I have gotten so many of these Gregorian calendars and added the Hebrew date to it and never noticed this because I was doing it backwards. So this time I made a 7-day, 52-week timeline. It's the same timeline I have, but it's laid out differently so we can see it. And how amazing is that? Can we almost say, and I don't want to say it, but could we almost say the rapture will not happen on a Friday or on a Tuesday? Or could we say the rapture will happen on a Friday or a Tuesday because those are our special days? I don't know. Will the rapture happen on a Friday for the bride and on a Tuesday for the tribulation saints? I don't know. Something to think about there. All right, Aaron, this is for you. This is what I would call Second Pentecost. I never liked them going to a feast day called Shavuot, which is right here, which already happened on May 30th, a long time ago. This happened a long time ago. It's been over, but with them going this calendar, that calendar, this calendar, and they just kept moons, full moons, all this stuff. They extended Shavuot out almost until now, I think. They really extended it out, but then they gave up on that, and now they're on Pentecost. But you do not count your Pentecost from Shavuot. You cannot count your Pentecost from Shavuot. Shavuot is a different event. Shavuot is the day that Jesus and Moses ascended. Moses ascended into the mountain, and he came back down for 3 days, then he went back up for a day, then he came back down for 3 days. Then he went back up, and then Moses sat in that cloud for 7 days. For 7 days, but the Bible says it was 40 days that he was up there. So first Pentecost, which happened on June 5th, Moses sits in the cloud, and then 7 days later, Moses is given the law. And then 33 days later, for a total of 40 days, Moses throws down the tablets. He throws them down. Now, I found a lot of, and I listened to a lot of YouTubers, I found a lot of them saying, or are attempting to count another 50 from Shavuot, not understanding that it is different than the first Pentecost. The first Pentecost is, of course, the day that Jesus ascended here, and 7 days later is the Pentecost count. But then they find this other 50 days. They're like, wait a second, there's this second count of 50 days and we don't understand it. I've understood that for years. I made this timeline 5 years ago, but that's okay. We're catching up. The first Pentecost is here. 50 days later, lands here. Remember, it's 49, even under the next day, 50, right here. Second Pentecost, which I have named Tisha B'Av, but with this information that Spinebreaker is working on, it might be that Tisha B'Av and Tu B'Av are one and the same. They both fall on the 9th of Av, and it is July 24th. It is Second Pentecost. It's the day of the women dancing in the field. It's the Festival of New Wine. They say this all the time. Are they not drunk on new wine? Do you know that that is a Jewish idiom? When they said it, they knew exactly what they were talking about. They weren't just making the statement, are they drunk on new wine? No, they were stating, just like when Moses came down out of the mountain and threw the tablets down, that these people were drunk on new wine. And by this time, they had blown up, big-bellied, and were killed. This is 9 days later. 9 days after Moses threw the tablets down, later, Second Pentecost lands. Tisha B'Av, Tu B'Av, Festival of Wine, all of it lands here on the 9th of Av. This is the same day that all the temples, the 2 previous temples, were destroyed. This, to me, is the perfect rapture day. It is a Pentecost. It is the day that the 2 temples were taken previously. It is the 9th of Av. It is the Festival of Wine. It is the day that people make fun of. Are they drunk on new wine? It's a Jewish idiom. It's pointing directly at Tisha B'Av, Tu B'Av, at the 9th of Av. It's pointing directly at it. For now, I'm going to leave Tu B'Av on here and take it off later. Of course, if we're rapture here, then I guess I'll take it off in heaven. So I have Sandy did this for me, of course, highlighted this time in yellow, all of the events of Noah. These are Noah events, the dove and the raven. I had the dove and the raven back here on Second Pentecost, but I did the count. It was 40 days until he released the dove and the raven. From this point, the dove and the raven doesn't return. It's 40 days until Noah removes the covering. It's marked out perfectly. So I was wrong. I moved it here. They are not associated. The raven and the dove is not associated with Pentecost. It's the next day. The dove and the raven return 7 days later with it. I'm sorry, the dove returns the next day with the olive branch, or the 7 days later, and then the dove does not return another 7 days later. So keep watching. Keep watching. I think that we're in for something here. Where are we at now? What is this? This is the 18th. This is the 18th. We're 7 days away from this right here. If we were going to see a 3-day warning, we might see something down here on a Wednesday. I don't know. These are the hidden days that we see. The first Sabbath. This is the Sabbath of months. This is 3 months, and then there's a month. This is 2 months, and then there's the third month with 31 days. 2 months, and then the third month with 31 days. I don't want to think that we're waiting until here, but the math sure does look good for trumpets and for day 4 of creation when God created time. And this is the Elul 31. So these 2 dates would be my next high watch days. This is also a Chodesh, simply means head of the month. There's 12 of them. And then there's 4 last day. There's 4 months that have 31 days. The switch over between these over here, spring, summer, fall, and winter. I have them all over here. And you'll go here to spring at the very end. You will always find a, this is the first Sabbath, which is Wednesday, and it would be Sivan 31. And then the same thing happens down here. So there are 12 Rosh Chodeshes. I thought this was a pretty high watch day, honestly, July 16th, because it's not only Rosh Chodesh, it falls on a Sabbath. There's only 4 of them. That one's over with. The next one will happen on October the 16th. So let's hope and look for second Pentecost here. Anyway, let's see. What else did I have? I did some math for you. I wanted to, I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I wanted to show you how their timeline is wrong. If you go from the cross to the flood, it's 215 days, and it has to happen. And then they say that this is when Passover happens in 2024, or happened in 2024. And if I do that math, that's when the flood should really happen, because it's 215 days. Remember, there's 365 days in a year, and it's 150 days from the flood back to the cross. So if they're going to use that formula, the moon formula, and it is April 22nd, 215 days later, that's the date of their flood. It would have to be November the 23rd. But they're going to call Heshvan 17 is November 18th. So they're 5 days off. And then the flood to the cross, remember, it has to be 150 days. It's clearly written. He sat in that ark. And the rains began to recede after 150 days. And then on the 153rd day, the ark set down on Mount Ararat. So here we are 150 days later, again, back at the cross on March 30th from Halloween, the flood beginning. But theirs started on, remember, on November 23rd, 150 days. We put the cross at April 22nd in 2025, but they're looking at April 12th. So they're 10 days too soon. The whole thing, and let me just, here's the comment I wanted to show you. This comment, Spinebreaker up here, whoops, sent it to me. It says, dear, and this is from Daniel, child of God. He found something incredible, and I think others should research this and figure out why they are calling such a thing as Tu B'Av on the 15th of Av, when this person right here has figured it out, that it's actually the 9th of Av, that Tu B'Av, Tisha B'Av, and all of them, Festival of Wine, all of it lands on the 9th of Av, the days the temples were destroyed. All of it culminates right there on that day. Dear Dr. Beria, I found proof according to scripture that Tu B'Av, when they snatched the bride, isn't on the 15th of Av. It's on the 9th of Av. Judges 19:2, for 4 whole months bring us to the month of Av. Judges 19:8. 5th day gives us 5 days. Judges 20:30. 3rd day gives us 3 days. Judges 21:4. The morrow gives us 1 day, and then you have 5 plus 3 plus 1 equals 9, which brings us to the 9th of Av. It's really good study, and Spinebreaker found it in the comments on Dr. Beria's site, which again, I thought was incredible, because I've always had this confusion. And honestly, the place where I learned this was from Dr. Berry, that there was a Tisha B'Av and a Tu B'Av, and that they were separate and different. And this person here found out that they, in fact, are the same exact day. That's the day the women were dancing. That's the Festival of Wine. Are they not drunk on new wine? It is a Jewish idiom. Now, let's see here. Saying, when will the new moon be gone? Over here, it says Chodesh, which means month. They translated it correctly 254 times, and then 20 times they translated it incorrectly as new moon. It is not new moon, it's new month. All right, so that's it. That's all. Where do I go? How do I do this now? Oh, stop sharing. Boom. All right. Whew. Hot out here. My pain level did not increase the entire time I was out here. That's good news. Was able to maintain, a little foggy from the pain medications, which I don't like taking anything, honestly, but I can tell you this, I'd rather be loopy than feel that pain again. That was something else. Any of you ever had a kidney stone, you know what I'm talking about. Wow. And I'm like, Lord, if you're taking this next week, couldn't you just make this kidney stone go away? And then you said, no, you're living your life. You get to go through everything you were going to go through. I'm not changing anything because the rapture's next week. Or at least I think he said that. It might be the pain medicine talking. I'm not sure. All right. Repo Man 64, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm going to go inside and relax. Wow. I probably shouldn't have done this video. I'm gonna have to watch this thing in a week or so, see what I said. What did I say like, comment, share, and subscribe? I think I did. Go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody. Accept the Lord into your heart. Yeah, we're out of time. Go watch every single channel, all of them, every single one of them. They're all working at this from a different angle. I just named you all the angles from the beginning of this program. They're all coming at it different. I'm coming at it from a timeline angle. We're all coming at it from different angles. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So I'm going to set this up as a live tonight, which I don't know why I'm saying that, because by the time you hear this, I will have already set it up as a live. Should have said it at the beginning, maybe. All right. So I can't go back to the beginning now, and I don't know how to edit. So you're stuck with everything I said. I hope I didn't say anything dumb. All right. We will be back on here before the 9th of Av, before July 24th, and continue on. And those events that everybody, every channel has their own angle, that their own piece of the puzzle that they're coming at this with. We're going to see it light up. We're going to see it light up, and then at the end of the day, it's going to be God that tells us. And maybe he'll just make every single one of those things line up that I named, or maybe it'll be an angel at the foot of your bed telling you, "Hey, wake up! It's time to go." Could be that. So, all right, we'll chat with you all again later.